Hey guys, Liquid Fire here. Thanks for joining me again tonight. So we are obviously looking at Way of the Hunter, since we're talking about the update. And we're going to try to kind of hit some of the big pieces here quickly and explain a little bit about what's going on with some of the changes. But I do want to let you guys know that the herd management changes, they're pretty significant. Okay, so there's a lot there, and I'm not going to get into all the deep detail in this video. I will link to a more of a deep dive on the herd management changes because there's a lot to it. And we also learned that some of the information that we were given to begin with wasn't necessarily the most accurate. So there's some changes not only in game in terms of what they added in, but how some of the stuff actually works. So we've got a lot to get into on that, and I didn't want to jumble up the update video with all of that detailed information. I will get into some high level stuff on it, enough to kind of let you see what's coming and kind of how to use it, but I did not want to get too far into the weeds for the update. So let's get into the update itself. So the first thing everybody wants to know is, when is it coming? So March 10th. March 10th. It may already be out there by now. I'm recording this, way before then, since not way, but like a week ahead, since we did get early access this time. So that's why you're seeing the video today instead of a day or two after the new update actually goes in. So that was awesome. Great to see. But we're looking at a new version. So it's going to be 126.7. So we were in 126.4. I don't know what happened to 5 and 6. Maybe that's a really good sign that there's a lot of parallel work going on, and that we'll see a lot of stuff in the future. I don't know. But 5 and 6 are missing, so they went somewhere. I don't know. That's pure speculation, but we are going to be running 1.26.7 after March 10th. So let's get into one of the first things. We knew that we were getting changes to herd management, and in my opinion, that is the big update. It's kind of like the ammo update. There was other stuff, but it was really about the ammo. This is about herd management. There are some other things, but it's herd management. So kind of reading through the blurb they gave, this update lets you track the fitness of animal herds in real time after each in-game year and see how your hunting impacts the entire species across habitats. So yes, you do get yearly updates. It's not going to update real time when you shoot a deer. It's not going to change your fitness. It will still update at the beginning of the new year, and that's when you'll see the updates in game. They continue on. As you know, your actions influence all animal groups of the same species in a habitat over time. There's some contention around that, and that will be in the video after this. So at the end of this video, there'll be a link to the herd management update. Well, no, the herd management deep dive for the update, I guess. But I'll link it at the end of this video so you can go to it if you want to get into the nitty gritty. But some stuff is a little different now. But you can track these changes directly on the map. So when you bring up your map in game, it's going to look different. There's going to be more information available. So it's some pretty cool stuff there. You can see the detailed habitat breakdown, highlighting fitness potential across primary, secondary, and private habitats. There's new fitness tracking UI that visualizes the long-term changes. There's an in-game day tracker. Yep, that's not really part of herd management in terms of fitness and things like that, but they did give us a calendar, or at least a day out of the calendar. So the year, you don't know, but you know what day it is. And I think that's perfectly fine. I love that they did that. That's really nice. We'll showcase that in a little bit. But it's going to allow us to monitor time progression more accurately instead of guessing how long it is until a new year starts in game. They're absolutely right. And these tools will give you greater strategic control over hunting management, marking hunts, making hunts smarter and more engaging. That's actually true. And it sounds like hyperbole. I get it. but it really is true. It is going to make a big difference for those of you who are interested in herd management. If you don't really care, you just go out and shoot stuff, it's not going to matter to you at all. It's not going to matter one iota. If you're the type of person who likes to manage your herds, you're trying to improve your fitness, you're trying to quote unquote hunt the right way to improve your genetics, your fitness and all that, it's going to matter to you. It's going to matter to me a ton because that's what I do. I do a lot of culling. I focus on specific areas, and this is taking that to the next level, which is great. They also added in a new encyclopedia piece. So if you go to the encyclopedia, go to mechanics, animals, and then fitness potential, you'll be able to see all the information that we're about to go through and understand better what's going on. So let's jump in game, and we'll bring up the menu here and showcase what that looks like. All right, so in the encyclopedia, we go to mechanics, and then we go down to where it shows animals. Scroll a little further, you'll find fitness gene pool, and right below fitness gene pool will be nothing. We're looking for fitness potential, but it's not here. So what is actually going on is, just like you have to discover zones and stuff to get all the information, they tied this to killing an animal. I don't know why, but you have to actually go in and harvest an animal before it counts. So luckily for you guys, I already killed one. So we got one right here. We'll just claim it, sell it for 221, and go right back to our menu. So encyclopedia, and if you notice, it jumped right back to where we were at. So we were in, what the hell? It didn't update. Okay, so I'm not sure what's going on. Had to try a few times and I could not get it to actually work again. Luckily, I had the save where I initially went through the process and got it to work. And here's our fitness potential. So definitely we'll be letting the dev team know that there's an issue with the fitness potential showing up for everybody when they first kill an animal. Hopefully that'll be resolved before you guys ever see this. All right, but yeah, you know me, I'm not going to hide anything. It's going to be fair and honest. So let's take a look at the fitness potential now that we got it to show up finally. So this is the fitness potential that we've been talking about. So it walks through everything in here. We'll kind of go through real quick and highlight what we're looking at. So they went through and did a nice job breaking down what everything is here for you. So A, this is your lowland forest. It's telling you the habitat you're looking at. B, this is your habitat quality. Now, there's a little more to it. So we'll kind of go through what this really means in just a minute. C is your fitness. So this is your average fitness in the herd and what your expected range for your new spawns will be. So your spawn range was 22% to 82%. And D is the change from last year. So in this case, their example in the encyclopedia, they did some good culling and they were able to improve the fitness of their red fox by 8% over the last year. So you'll notice we've got some new symbols and stuff here. So this shows habitat quality, but kind of keep in mind there's two different pieces together here, okay? So you've got these three symbols, the tilde, the star, and the crown. So all that's saying is primary, secondary, and private lands. So the tilde is your secondary, star is primary, crown is your private lands. And then you have, I'm going to skip down here to the icons. So it'll show the current fitness. They keep saying fitness potential. Just think of fitness average. But they show what the different potential is, and that's these badges around it. So absolutely nothing is as low as you can go. That's going to be 0 to 19.99%. And then the next 20% gap will give you the little one blue hanging down. And then 40 to 60, just rounding, is going to give you the purple. 60 to 79.99 gives you the orange. And then you get the green wreath when you're in that 80 to 100%. So when you look at it like this is telling you you're in a secondary habitat, and the purple, if you go back down here, tells you your average is going to be between 40 and 60%. And that's kind of all that is. And if we go to the map itself, you'll see every single herd has these badges on them, okay? So if we go down over here, here's some herds that are in that 80 to 100% average in the private land. So you got the crown, you've got the wreath. Now here's one that's a level below that. It's in that 60 to 80 range, and I'm just rounding to make it easier. But you'll see it's private land, but it's got the orange badge, and you're going to be at that 60 to 80 range. Let's see. Let's go over this way. I got some more. So here's your purple, which is a level lower. The star, so we know that's primary, but purple indicates that that you're a little bit lower. And here's a blue one. So this is that 20 to 40% range. And I don't know that I have any that are in the 0 to 20% range. If I look around, I don't see any. I didn't think I had any. But so yeah, that's what those are. And it's really handy because it showcases a lot of information. So like if we take a look at this whitetail here, we'll see that it's in Grasslands East. And everybody knows what Grasslands East is. Everybody knows that there is a Grasslands East. Has anybody heard of Grasslands East? Well, maybe if we come over here and look at Grasslands West, it'll make more sense. Oh, wait, that's Grasslands. Oh, because I'm on the pheasant. Let me go to the deer. Grasslands West. So this is a big deal here, guys. So it is part of the grasslands. So just like this pheasant is in the grasslands, you're in the grassland habitat. But whitetail happen to be split between east and west. So those on the left side of the creek, let me get on the deer, are in the west zone. Those on the right side of the creek are in the east zone. And that's just the way it is all the way down through here. So there's only a couple animals that are like that. So the whitetail in Nez Perce have the grasslands east and west. And then if you go to Transylvania, the wild boar down in the floodplains do the same thing. So you have the wild boar in the delta, and you have the wild boar in the floodplain shores. So it's two different sub-habitats within the floodplain habitat. So you have the delta, and then you have the shores for the wild boar, and you have east and west grasslands for the whitetail. And that's the only two that we know of at this point that have the sub-habitats like that. Something else that is really important, and I'll get into in more detail with the deep dive. From the beginning, we were told to manage habitats. So if we look at diamond drill, for example, we know that this is the lowland forest, okay? And if we scroll out, we've got small paws, black fox, diamond drill, and green acres. So all four of those are lowland forest, and we were told they all work together as one habitat. That's not true. So what we discovered with the new herd management information is that the private land is actually its own private habitat. Even though it's still called lowland forest, it's its own entity. So if we take a look at these mule deer and whitetail here in the in Diamond Drill in the private land. You can see there's the crown here. The whitetail, we have a fitness potential of 50 to 100%, and it's stable. If we come up here and get into whitetail that are not part of the private land, you'll see this is primary where it has the star. That's a big difference. So the whitetail here are 10 to 100%, and we improved them by 1% last year. And if we take a look at the mule deer, we're at 10 to 100% stable. And if you notice, this was 50 to 100% and actually lost a percentage over the last year. So that's actually huge, huge news. You don't need to continue to manage the entire habitat if you're interested in hunting private land. Again, I will get into a lot more detail on herd management in a deep dive video. There's a lot more going on here. There's a lot of information and things that you can kind of figure out, and we'll get into that separately. I don't want to spend too much time on it here, but I did want to hit a couple of the big pieces so that you understood what was going on. And again, you can just kind of look and get a feel for what type of habitat fitness you have. Again, the tilde is secondary, the star is primary, the crown is your private land. The wreaths, if you see the wreaths, that means you are in the highest possible fitness bracket. The 3-tabbed badge, the orange one, that's your next level up. That's your 60 to 80%. The purple is your 40 to 60. The blue is your 20 to 40. And then nothing at all is the 0 to 20. So you can really easily kind of look around and get an idea of what type of areas have really good fitness and which ones have really poor fitness. So you're looking for orange. Where do we go? We're looking for orange like this and green like this, regardless of whether it's your primary or private. It'll be easier in private for sure. But that's kind of the range that you're looking for if you're really pushing your herd management. All right, so we have went into a lot of detail on herd management. Let's go ahead and look through the rest of the updates here, because there's a lot more to it than just herd management. So we're going to kind of run through the patch notes, just kind of line by line. We're going to skip to herd management. We just talked about that. FSR2. So this is actually a big piece. So we still got the game up here, of course. So if you go to video and then go down to your anti-aliasing, if you have a capable video card, you now have the option to turn on FSR2. So even a lot of the NVIDIA cards can support FSR. Only some really old ones don't. But if you come in here, go to temporal and change it, you can go to FSR, and that's going to pop open a new menu here. And you'll have 3 different options. So you've got performance, balanced, and quality. So in the interest of showcasing what things look like, we'll jump back in game. So let me set everything here. So we're set up as ultra for our distance, high for everything else. Foliage is at high right now. We could change it if we wanted to, but we'll just kind of use this as a general gauge. So I'm going to look back. Well, which way? I guess we'll look this way, so you can kind of see what it looks like. Let me get rid of the gun. So this is standard. This is temporal anti-aliasing. There's nothing extra going on. It looks okay. We'll turn this way. So, I mean, it looks okay. It's fairly sharp. So if we go into the video and we take the foliage up all the way to ultra, you'll see there is a pretty big hit in the FPS. So now I'm running around 64 frames. Well, no, it's dropping to 62. Now 60. It's just continuing to drop. I don't know what it's doing. But we're around 60 frames. Okay. And you can kind of see what it looks like. Now, you probably noticed that the objectives came back up. Well, that's something that needs to be fixed, in my opinion, every time you go away. So if I clear it, like I hit my O key now, and I go away and come back, it comes back. I clear it again. I bring up the binoculars. Well, that's the rifle. Let's try bringing up the binoculars. I bring up the binoculars. Shoot. If I could quit hitting the other keys. So let's make it go away. Binoculars, binoculars. We're okay. We bring up the rifle. We're okay. You bring up the map. You ain't okay anymore. It's back every single time. You bring up the menu. It's back every single time. And if you look on the lower left, you'll see that a message just disappeared. So one of the changes they made, and we'll get into it here in a second, is to make the no HUD run a little more convenient by showcasing all of this information for a little bit and then having it disappear. And unfortunately, even if you have the HUD turned on and these elements turned off, they come back and stay here for however long it is. You can see the toggle objectives at Henderson's. I don't know, it's like 10, 15 seconds or something, and eventually it'll go away. I hate it. I don't want it to be there ever. I don't need it to be there. I don't know why they've forced it to do it. If you want to give us a toggle that, you know, says temporarily show it or something, I'm all for that. I don't want it here. I want it to go away. It's more than 15 seconds. I don't know how long it is, but it does eventually go away. So that's the key point there. We're looking at FSR. So right now we're just going to leave everything pointed at this mountain. You can see grass. You can see some trees in the distance. You can see the mountain, and you can see in the top right, at least I think it's going to be recording it. But in the top right, what? Hang on. Sorry. All right, in the top right, you'll see it's showing about 6. I was trying to look to see if it was recording. It's what I was doing, and everything was black, but it's recording. So it does show it. So you'll see 60 frames. So this is down in this first, looking at a mountain, everything maxed out. So if we bring up the controls here for video, go to FSR. So we go to anti-aliasing. You have to click it a couple times for some reason. I don't know. And we'll put it on performance and just exit out. And you see we gained, it looks like 6, trying to do 7 frames maybe. So not a huge jump. This is also still looking pretty good. Now, if you get into pixel peeping, yeah, there's some fairly noticeable differences when you start comparing side by side. But overall, I don't think it looks that bad. And we'll go ahead and jump. We won't do all of them. Whoops. But we will jump to quality. And here's the thing with that. The FPS is actually lower. I don't understand how that happens, but we lose frames by turning it on and putting it into quality mode. I don't get it. So if we go back to our temporal, leave everything at ultra, we're back up to that 60. It's, well, 59 now. Oh, there we go, 60. So I don't know why you would ever run it, other than in performance mode. Now that's with everything cranked up. If we go in and we turn some stuff down, so let's take foliage. That's a hard hitter down to low, and let's take view distance down to very high. So we're assuming that it's a rig that doesn't have as much power. So if we go that route, we can see our frame rates jump up to, looks like it's going to be around 90, 93, whatever. So it's in that low 90s range, we'll just say that. And that's with just temporal anti-aliasing on. It doesn't look as good, but you get more frames and it evens things out. If we now turn on FSR2 and we put it on performance, you're still only gaining a few frames. So you gain more frames in the higher settings than in the lower settings. Now, if I now go in and jump all the way to quality, we're, a few frames lower, maybe. It's bouncing around a ton. So I'm not sure what exactly they've done with FSR. It is FSR2. It's not FSR3, so it doesn't have the frame gen and all that stuff. But it is going to allow things to render a little bit differently. I think that if you have a borderline system, if you're not really pushing the new age equipment around, I think it'll have a good use for people. So I think that why is my FPS so high? It was 60 earlier. Now I'm running 80. Did I forget to turn something back up? So, I had foliage turned all the way up. That's right. I don't run it on ultra. I keep it a little bit lower. If you have a middle ground rig, I think the FSR could be useful, and I don't think it hurts the image enough to be a problem. But if you're running a high-end system, I don't think you're going to want to run it. I don't think there's going to be a lot of benefit. But that's, your mileage is going to vary. It depends on your rig, your setup, what you're running. I'm doing everything in 4K. I'm pushing the card pretty hard. It's a 6950 XT, so it's not the newest AMD, but it's an AMD. But it's a good one. Up until the release of the new NVIDIA stuff, it was like a top 10 card. So it's still a decent card. And, I don't really have FPS issues. I don't even keep the FPS count up anymore. I only had it up to test the FSR stuff. So you'll notice most of the time if you see my videos, it's not there because I don't care. Unless something goes wrong and I feel something, then I'll check it. The rest of the time, it's fine. And I think for a lot of players, it's either going to be turning on performance mode in FSR2 or just leaving it off. I don't see a lot of benefit in the quality or the balanced. It's just not a big gain. It's only 10 frames. All right, so that's the FSR thing. We got a deer over there very excited. So they did also make changes to DLSS. There's a new preset option available for that. I don't have an NVIDIA card, so I can't showcase that. They also added some new visual settings for the PS5, and it's supposed to improve fidelity and performance on the PS5 Pro. So I don't know if there's any changes for the standard, but certainly looks like they've got some changes to the PS5 Pro, which it does use a different type of well, it's not DLSS. It's a different type of anti-aliasing. So I'm not going to get into that. That's a whole different conversation. But they made some changes for that. They added a notification when the player's ammo has been refilled, and this is really simple. I'm not near my Jeep. I didn't get it out. We'll fly back to the house. And we'll just go reload so you can see what that looks like. Now listen for it. And look on the lower left. Ammunition replenished. Oh, it's gone. Alright, let me go do it again. We'll just shoot. Alright. So look on the lower left and listen. That's it. So ammunition was replenished down here on the lower left, and it went chingy, chingy, chingy. So if I go back in now, no chingy, chingy, chingy. I guess it's good to know that if you go to the safe, it automatically reloads, which by now I think everybody would figure that out. But either way, I guess if you have nothing but paid ammo and you're out of ammo, it wouldn't jingy and you would know. I don't know. Not sure why they did it. It's not a big deal one way or the other, but they did. So that's a thing. On lower difficulties, a marker will now be automatically dropped at the place of a blood trail origin. This is kind of big. All right, so what we're talking about is if, say, we're down here and we're hunting these deer, I shoot one, I can't find the blood. Well, if you're in hiker mode, you should be able to find the blood anyway because you got the big pillars. But if you're in hiker mode, you can now have an icon on the map. And it's actually really slick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump down to hiker mode real quick just to showcase what that looks like. And it is only in hiker. Now again, things may change by the time this goes live. I doubt it. Generally, they're not going to make a lot of changes in the last week, but yeah, who knows? So we're going to jump down to hiker mode and we'll go shoot something. In fact, let me jump time real quick. Oh, we're at a good time. All right. We'll run down here and find a deer or something to shoot. While I'm running down, if you look at the top of my screen, you'll see the green triangles with the black blood drop in it. That's part of what we're talking about. So we're going to go find something to shoot. See if we see anything down here. I've spooked a bunch of stuff because I was playing around with things earlier. We've got some deer way over yonder. Okay, so we can go down there. And see the objectives came back again every time. But now on the lower left, there's no HUD information. So I don't know what it's doing. It seems to come and go at different times, at different speeds. I really hope they decide to give it a toggle and say, you know, I don't know what to call it, but brief update or something. Maybe you can have HUD on, HUD off, HUD temporary. I don't care. Just let me turn it off is all I ask. I don't want it to show up. Especially the HUD helpers. Now the rifle and ammo and stuff like that, even the wind, that's kind of handy. So we'll jump into Ranger and showcase what it looks like now when you go no HUD. Well, we don't have to be in Ranger. We can do it in we can do it right here in Hunter and Hiker. Shoot. Where you at? I hear you. Alright. So there's one. Did I spook off the deer yet? I was running and talking. I don't think I paid a bit of attention and ran them off. No, they're still there. Alright. So we'll go over here. Find us a deer. Ugh. There we go. So... Alright, he's down. I really should not have tried to kill him in one shot. Let me go... I'll never wound one of those. That's alright. So now, if we look at the map, you've got this green icon. And that gives you the blood trail, tells you what it is. So this is your blood trail origin for an American badger, and you can remove it. So if we run over to the badger here, you see it shows up once you're close enough. I think it's around 100 meters. Hang on, let me see if I can shoot one. Okay, so I didn't want to kill him, I just wanted to shoot him. So right there, 324 meters away. Whoops. So right here is what we're looking at. Let me get rid of the tracking marker. So there's the whitetail deer blood trail origin. This one dropped immediately. This one ran off. This one dropped immediately. So let's go pick this guy up. 0% female. All right, but you know, whatever, it's a shot. We killed it. We sell it. It's gone. So it automatically removes that tracking icon, which is handy. So if we run over to this one, and you'll notice there's a lot more up in my compass than what you've seen me shoot. So that's everything that's on my map where there's blood that's either a dead animal or a shot animal that survived. Oh, there we go. So we're at 100 meters. It just shows up top in your compass. Nothing on the field of view. You get to under 100 meters. It drops off your compass and shows up on ground like a ground marker. So kind of keep that in mind. So this deer we shot, it dropped immediately, just like the badger did. So he's right here. So if I come in here and I highlight this, I'm sorry. If you just hover and try to do it, it won't let you stay on it for some reason, but it seems like, well, I was doing something. Well, there we go. We got it to go away. But I was able to hold and keep it up earlier. I don't know if I clicked on it or what I did differently, but you can remove it. That's kind of the key. Even if the animal's still laying there, you can remove it, which to me doesn't make any sense because it'll automatically remove it whenever you claim the animal. Oh, this is also the genetics thing. So it doesn't show the habitat here, it just shows the fitness, and you see that it's that 3-star fitness range. So he's in a herd. So where is he at? Which one is he? He's this one. So he's in a herd that has, I keep trying to hover with my mouse, but has the fitness potential of 13 to 100%. He's in the Grasslands West, and that's the 3-star, or excuse me, the orange 3-tab badge thing. So it shows whenever you go to claim them what that is. It just doesn't show primary, secondary, or private land. And again, he's 64%. That actually makes me wonder if that's showing this percentage or the habitat percentage. Maybe it's showing this percentage. We may have to pay some more attention. I didn't even look at it. All right, let's go explore a little bit. So we know the next one dead is here. Well, the next one we shot is there. It shouldn't be dead. Okay, so we're over here, and we can see this is where we shot. Oh, well, it did die. I was trying not to kill it. But it expires slower, maybe further away. I thought I hit it further up than I did. We'll go pick it up. Looks like it's dead right up here in the road. Yep. So we'll look at it. See what its fitness was. Alright, so now looking at this, we got the blue. He's 27%. So this is showing what the actual animal is. So if we take a look at where we shot him at, he was here. And this is a whitetail with a blue tab. So he was here. So if we look for our whitetails, sorry. Trying to find the correct one. Which, was it this one up here? One of those that we spooked when we shot earlier? That's probably what it was. Regardless, you can look around and see I don't have any blue whitetails. They're all either orange or purple. So the tab that you see in here is actually the fitness. So learned that just now. So that's what that is. Gives you the badge collar there. So that's interesting. Again, I don't think it matters. Just eye candy. So anyway, that's what the blood markers are. The blood trail origin. That's what they are. And if you have the map zoomed out, you can see everywhere you have animals that you've either killed or you've shot and it was not a kill shot. So that's handy. Again, this is in hiker only. I don't play in hiker, so these were all things that I shot either in hunter or ranger. It would have been mostly in hunter, of course. But you can kind of see it showcases where everything is. And some of this may have possibly been me playing around earlier, just seeing how things work. But yeah, so it's pretty cool. I think it's nice on the hiker level. I don't think I would want it on hunter or ranger, but it's cool to have. So they added that in. Multiplayer. They did some changes for multiplayer. They added some location ping functionality. So I don't know. I don't play multiplayer, so I can't really speak a whole lot about that. They added join and leave notifications, and the server browser will now display the map and difficulty of each server. So like when you go to launch a multiplayer game, instead of having no idea what it is you're going into, it's supposed to now show what map they're playing and whether it's hiker, hunter, ranger, whatever. And again, I don't know why that wasn't there from day one. Good thing to add. So something that I wanted to get into, and I've kind of overlooked it so far, is the in-game calendar. So if you go into your map and take a look here on the right-hand side, you'll see, get rid of that, there's a number 2 here. That means you're in the second day of the year. So if we were to go into the cabin here and sleep, that 2 is going to shift from being a 2 to a 3 to tell you you're on the 3rd day of the year. So it's really simple. We'll just jump past midnight. Well, if I hit the right thing, we'll jump past midnight. Now you don't see it here in the sleep screen, but if you go to your map, you'll see now we're on day 3. And if we go in and sleep one more day, then it'll jump back around to day 1 so that you can see that you've started a new year. And here you go. We're on day 1 again. So it just continues to cycle 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I think it's perfect. It's really simple, but it's also really nice. It'll help keep everybody much more aware when the year's about to end. Your animals are going to die, when to go check things to see if they've grown. So I wanted to make sure that we did touch on that. So they made a few tweaks. So they improved the experience of playing with the HUD hidden. So that's what we were actually just talking about with like the toggle objectives and stuff. So if I hide my HUD, you'll see my HUD is still there. Okay, and then it disappeared. And that toggle objectives disappeared. So if I bring up the binoculars and lower them back down, toggle objectives comes back. I don't know why. The mission won't, but the toggle objectives likes to hang around, even though that's turned off. But you don't see all the other stuff. Now, I do have the compass turned on. That's me. That's my setting. That's how I play when I play HUD free. And then if you go to the map, well, I guess if you go to the main menu and come back, you'll see that it shows everything in the bottom right again for a few seconds and goes away. That's nice and quick. I can deal with that. If the objectives would, now it all went away. If they would go away as quickly as the other stuff, that would be cool. If we go to the map and come back, everything comes back for a few seconds. And then you watch, boom, on the bottom right, it's gone. The other stuff, in my opinion, should be gone too, but there, it slowly went away. So there's some bugs with that. I'm sorry, it's just not working the way it's supposed to. It stays too long sometimes. I don't know. If you bring up your rifle, you still see what rifle it is for a brief moment. Now you get an idea of your ammo and everything, and then it goes away. That's nice. So that part, the bottom right, I like. The stuff on the left, go away. I don't need all that. But it's a nice little thing. Let's go ahead and sell him. All right. Now see, everything comes back, but it goes away. And the rifle one should go away here any second now, or is it going to be broken and stay? It's going to be broken and stay. So they're going to have to do some tweaking on it. But they did work on that. And it's nice. It's handy. Again, people are going to want to be able to turn it off, and I'm going to want it to work right. This obviously has some opportunities. The encyclopedia will automatically reopen at the last viewed page, and that's actually really nice. So if I go to encyclopedia, so let's say I go to mechanics, and I'm looking on animal variations, and then I go do something, and I want to go back, and I go to the encyclopedia, it's still there. Same thing if you're on animals. So let's say you're checking information on Sitka deer. You want to see what time they drink and what their weights are. You exit. You go back to the encyclopedia. It's still there on your Sitka deer. It sounds simple, but it's actually really nice. It's one of those things that you don't really think about how handy it is until you actually see it. And if you use the encyclopedia a lot to look up stuff, I think it'll be more handy. And as a newer player, you should be using it a lot and looking up a lot of this information to understand what's going on. And that'll be handy. So I like that. They extended the visibility of your co-op partner's in-game name tag to infinity and beyond. So in multiplayer, you can see the player name wherever they're at on the map. Didn't know you couldn't do that now, but okay. They also added in a series of fixes. So multiplayer, they fixed an issue where clients could not shoot or reload the Cinnamonsky or the Holden shotgun until changing the ammo type. I'll assume that was an issue and they fixed it. I don't know. Audio issues during the race missions in Aurora Shores and Tickamoon Plains. So there was that issue where it was making god-awful noise if you tried to run them. They fixed that, which is a good thing to have fixed. Missing reload sound effects for the Stinger 22 when prone. Simple, but good to have it fixed. They also corrected the age for red deer and lynx. So if you remember the lynx, for example, whoa, got a little wild with my spinny wheel. The lynx had the adult ages swapped for female and male. They corrected that. And if we scroll down to the red deer, we're 6. There we go. They've changed this and corrected the years here so that it shows correctly. Okay, so that's good. There were some objective text errors at for the Ivory art task and shotgun bedding task. I don't know what those errors were, but they fixed them. And the task, I had a special issue on PS5 for the Ivory art task. They fixed it. They've worked on more of the floating trees in Transylvania. I'm not going to go try to find them again. I looked at them last time. There were still some there. You know what they look like. They'll either be there or they won't. Crossbow shaking when entering aim down scope or ADS while changing the ammo type. I don't know that I ever experienced that. I don't think I did a lot of swapping ammo types and trying to aim down scope real quick, but apparently it would shake. There was some issue with the fallow deer meat degradation. So I don't know if it was losing too much or not losing enough, but they fixed it, whatever that was. They also fixed the incorrect information in the claim screen after regaining consciousness. So if you killed something and then got knocked out and then went to claim it, a lot of times the data would be jacked up. So they fixed that. They corrected the German language, so there were some localization issues they fixed there. And the camera clipping through the player's head when in a vehicle in first person. So they fixed that as well. So that's everything. So a lot of fixes, a lot of tweaks, a lot of general updates. Is it what I would expect after, well, 8 months? You can even call it 7 months. Is this the level of an update that I would truly expect? No, it's not. It really isn't. But the herd management, while it is not a changing element in terms of how things work, it does really get into a lot of information. It does give you more information than we've ever had, and it explains how a lot of stuff works and things like that. I'm sure it was a lot of work. You know, there's a lot of ideas built in here. It's really slick the way they did it. I like the way they did it. Would that take 6, 7, 8 months? I hope not. FSR? Again, I hope not. Especially when you're getting like a 10 frame jump, or at least I'm only getting a 10 frame jump. Depending on your rig, you may get 50 frames. I don't know. You may get 2. So it's a nice update. It is. But I don't know that it's really what I would have liked to have seen in terms of vastness. There's no map work being done, and this is the scope of our big update after 6 months. So, I don't know. It's nice. I love the herd management stuff. I absolutely love it. And we will get into an actual deep dive on it and get into a lot of the details. I just, kind of hit it high level here. I love it. I think it's great. It adds a lot of information that's really going to be helpful if you're trying to chase a 5-star slam, for example. If you're focused on doing your herd management to just have great habitats overall, I think it's great. I think it showcases a lot of things that maybe weren't exactly correct. So, it's cool. So we can learn a lot from this, and I'll get into all the details in really deep depth in a follow-up video that should launch today. So unless something goes wrong, it should already be out there. But we'll get into all the details on that. Overall, I mean, it's not a bad update. It's just not as big as I would have liked to have seen, given the time frame, having known that everyone was expecting a new map. It's kind of disappointing. It is. And I'm in love with the herd management changes. It's still overall kind of disappointing. Really cool stuff. Some stuff that's going to need a little bit of tweaking. But some nice changes, some nice QOL things that do make it better. This blood trail origin's a really nice little piece, but it is what it is. Anyway, I'm going to leave it here. We're going to wrap things up. I think that we've covered everything in the update. Of course, I will have all of the different pieces linked in through the chapters, so you can skip around to what you want. And well, telling you that at the end of the video isn't exactly very useful. All right. Well, anyway, we're done. We're going to call it quits. All right, guys. Y'all have a good night. God bless, and happy hunting.